How's it going, everybody? Got my microphone working again, so that's good. This is Flatland Relics. I'm Matt. How you doing? I need to clean up a little bit, and then today we're gonna tear this down. It's already empty. I drained it a while ago. Tell you what, that old Power Wagon tin. It's not tin. It's basically like thin sheet steel, which is great because you don't have to worry about bending much anything with that. It can uphold its own weight. All right. I got a rebuild kit from Pass On, so that's nice. Got a little clutch from them too, but we're not going to deal with that today. Here's the book. It's a pretty normal book. It's from the Pass On people. Same place I got that kit from. I'm sure everybody knows about them at this point. If not, there's always Brewers. You can order stuff from them too. I've never taken one of these apart before, and I really wasn't even going to make a video for this, but why not, right? Doesn't hurt anybody to watch. But I'm no mastermind at this, and I've opened up the side cover before and just looked around and kind of checked everything. You know, just did a basic inspection when I bought it, and everything looked really good. It didn't have a rusty case or anything. The gears are clean and nice looking. So this rebuild's mostly just going to be like the bearings and the gaskets, hopefully. I got some other goodies from Brewers. The reverse light 2-prong switch. I bought one of them, so we'll put that in new. These metal hooks are great. Yeah, look at all that. That's just dirt crammed in behind that plate. I guess it gets trapped back there. I did take the time to make myself a box that has everything in it. So this is the tool for pushing in the tail shaft bearing, and then as for loading the gears, I believe the arbor tool, I believe it's called main shaft arbor tool. I can't remember. And I just put together a box that has stuff that you're absolutely going to need to do the rebuild. That way, I don't have to go hunting for everything when I'm in the middle of doing this. I can just keep the box up here on the desk, or on the table, the workbench, I should say, and we're all good. In the book from Jamie Pass On, there is definitely a tool list, and I think I went and got everything. I just got some cheaper stuff for this, and it was under $100. And then I bought that tool from Brewers, which looks like it'll be really helpful. The arbor tool for loading all the little keys you got to put in that are in the rebuild package. I don't like having dirt on stuff, especially when I'm rebuilding it or I'm taking care of it. I like to clean it off. Rust we can't do much about right away, but dirt can always be cleaned. I already wire wheeled the case. I kind of went berserker on that and just, you know, it's a transmission. It had a layer of grime on it that was 1/8 inch thick almost everywhere, old fluid and all kinds of stuff. So, all kinds of road grime. All right. Let me clean that up. All right. Try and get this drain plug out. Drain as much as we can. I think there's a little fluid in the bottom here. They do say something in the book about getting an 8-sided socket, and I couldn't find either of those. Something maybe I should have ordered. See if I can get this without buggering it up. There we go. I guess we'll find out if all the threads in this casing are good real soon as we disassemble. I've been sitting on this transmission for the better part of a year, so hopefully everything's good. There we go. Nice and easy. I think there's just residual fluid. Okay. Yeah, not much. There it is. Yeah, there's not much, a little bit. The book did say try and drain it the best you can. You know, there's always going to be some in there. Yeah, that's not bad. This is precisely why I made this workbench in that other video, because I knew I had some stuff like this coming up. See, I like to clean everything as I go. I give everything a little gas wash. Do it the old school way. I definitely like to get all the dirt. This just has road grime on everything, so it's nice to just clean it, get it down to decent metal. All right. Threads look pretty good on that. Came out pretty smooth, so that's always a good start, right? Right. All right. Main bearing retainer, 4 bolts. So for the most part, I believe this is all original equipment on here. So we're going to be real gentle taking everything apart. I don't want to crack anything. I don't want to break anything. I don't want to have to buy any more parts. I already had to get the rebuild kit. It's not that expensive, but it's still money you got to spend, you know? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you got to tap this to get it off. And I'm going to use a rubber mallet. I'm not going to use like a ball peen hammer or anything. Definitely don't want to crack this bearing cover. Oh, see, that's all it took. You hit that with a hammer, you know, you hit something down here, you can really break stuff very easy, especially old steel. Okay, let's take a look. Not too bad. We'll get that cleaned up. It'll look really nice. Another very important part of this, you know, like it or not, I always like to put how many bolts are in the bag. That way the bag breaks, something goes wrong, you know what you're looking for. You know what should be in there. You know if you're short. These have a washer built into the head, and they're also not regular thread. They appear to have a little bit of a groove machined in the thread. Gonna wipe these down. I can go back to stuff I took apart 2 years ago, and I know. Because I can read the tag in the bag. I know what I'm looking at, what it's for, where it went. Once you start taking 1 or 2 vehicles apart, you're not going to remember everything. I don't care who you are. No way you're going to remember all the interior screws and set screws for everything in the car, and then you get into the engine and everything. There's hundreds of bolts. Like, it's impossible to remember all that. So just bag and tag your stuff. It's the only way. It's the only way to keep your mind sane during all of this. Okay. So we'll have to scrape that because there are remnants of a gasket. See it coming off. There you go. It's hard to even see on there, but it's there. There it is. See it? That's it. That's what keeps it from leaking. It's getting the heavy off. We'll do better next time when we clean it with parts cleaner or gas. It'll come right off. I'll break it down. Not too bad. I don't know if you can see that or not. I might have to get another one of these. There's a little corrosion in there. I'm going to do my best to see what I can do to get rid of it. See that seal right there? That's a little rubber seal, and we need to get that out. So we're going to very gently try and remove it. It does warn not to scratch the races for the seal, or to scratch the inside of this bore, or it can leak. Well, there's part of it. I never have luck with these parts. I'm trying to get this kind of stuff out. There we go. I just broke it. Cool. All right. Oh. Fortunately, it's just kind of breaking. I'm going to have to mess with this a little more. This thing feels like it's in there pretty good. I mean, this is a 1968 four-speed. It's a cast iron casing. It's not one of the later ones. So it's been around a while. And if this is the original seal, let me see if I have one in the new box that I can reference to see if this little ledge right there has to come out also. Okay, it's good to reference your new parts to see that there is the rubber flange here, and then this, like, I don't know if it's a hardened rubber or just like a tin ledge or ring, so to speak. So that tells me that I need to pull this entire seal out, and it goes to this edge also. So we're going to have to work a little harder at this one. A little more leverage. You know, I really don't want to have to end up buying another bearing retainer for the main shaft. It's always good to put the pressure on so if it breaks, it hits you right square in the face when you're working. Try and avoid stuff like that. See that bend? That's what I'm talking about. That thing will snap in a heartbeat. Yeah, this thing's in there pretty good. Let's make everything slippery. There we go. Got her. Boop. Little blaster, little PV blaster to the rescue. Clean that out. It looks pretty good. Not too bad. These little hook tools are great for getting those stubborn pieces of dirt out that don't want to come out of the little races. You just, doop, doop. This looks like it's got a little silicone on it from when they set the gasket. Makes perfect sense, right? A little bit bled out from this face, the machine's face from here in the case, and bled into there. You say you really don't want too much of that when you rebuild this, so it's something you got to watch is how much silicone you put on this when you put it back together. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are differences in these bolts, shoulder length, depth into the casing. These are things that must be known. Go through the book. It'll teach you everything you need about that. I'm not going to go into details on that. You want to know that, buy the book and read it. So what we're going to do is just keep these indexed. I already cleaned these a while ago, so they're not too bad. They will fluid on, but whatever. So be it. All right. Let's do shift fork. I believe this is the first, second shift fork, and this is the third, fourth. Okay. So when I bought this, what we were looking for was damage to any of the teeth. I believe this is a synchronizer down here. These are the gears. And they say if you're low on fluid, first gear is the first one to starve. That's because it's the largest gear. It's got the biggest diameter. So yeah, that looks like it got rebuilt at one point or just never got any mileage. I don't know. See, when you look up the VIN on these, it's on the other side. It's down under here. There's a little plate, and that tells you everything about it. But it doesn't tell you what vehicle it was in. As you can see, so this was manufactured in 2168, which means this probably went on a later in the year 1968 vehicle. Got some numbers there. I think they're just casting numbers. And then the VIN plate is on the other side. There's a whole to-do about them. So, and then here we go. 2/12/68. This is a good one. This is one worth having. Like I said, it looks pretty clean. So I don't think we're going to be redoing all that. I think I just need to do seals and, reverse light, speedometer, all that. But I'm going to take it fully apart because I want to get the whole case shot peened so it looks brand new. I'll take that down to the machine shop next week. Yeah, this thing's pretty clean inside. Metal flakes. There's nothing. I don't even want to take this thing apart. It's honestly like it's in really good shape, but we got to redo the bearings and everything. Put fresh stuff in. So, all right. Take off this speedometer. Take off the speedometer hold down nut. There's a fork on this. I don't understand much about how this works or why it's set up like that. I guess it's like an adjustment, or you can set the fork to tell you where you're set to. I don't know. I'll learn more about that on the rebuild. Just getting the dirt off that. Still kind of got a little bit of slime on it. See if I can get this pop. It says just pry it right out, but it does seem like it's coming out a little weird. It's bending a little. I don't want to bend it. Probably gonna end up buying another one of these. This cable attachment area is full of dirt too. We'll clean that later. There we go. Got her. Just a little tight. Oh. Well, found the damage. Looks like I'll be ordering one of them. That thing is roached. So we'll just wipe it off and keep it for now. So this is what happens to old parts that have exposed threads over the years. They get banged around, they get caught on workbenches, carts. They just get wrecked. So it looks like this housing is shot. So we'll need a housing for the speedometer, and we'll need this speedometer gear. Or we just don't put that back in, right? We just put a blockout plug. The drag race guys probably have a blockout plug for that. So we're going to put speedometer, bolt, fork, gear, housing. Plain and simple. Now we know everything in the bag. All right. We're going to crack this tail housing off now. Let's get to it. Yeah. I'm going to use the old breaker bar on this one. See that? See the difference? That's why you use that. Take the time to get the right tool. You don't have to worry about fudging up the bolt head. And these are all original bolts, so I don't want to mess these up. I don't want to strip them. I don't want to ruin the head and have to have one weird grade 8 bolt. There we go. I'll tell you what, this entire 4-speed, this ain't the lightest thing ever. So you can get a little help from the weight of the housing to keep it still, you know, but you're only going to get a little help on that. You're not going to get a lot. Housing bolts, there should be 6 of them, I believe, and I believe they're all the same. About popping this tail shaft off. There we go. Oh. Oh boy. Do a little gear inspection. Okay, take a little look at this. Looks pretty good. I don't see any like really bad wear patterns. Yeah. A little bit of dirt, something in there. A little rusty fluid. I think that's just a piece of flake or something in there. Of course, I went in the wrong, between the wrong 2 splines. Yeah, that wiped right out. No big deal. That's not damage. It's just some gunk. Okay. Oh, well, we'll have to clean that off. Synchronizer ring, I believe. Well, all this has to line up when you set it, or it won't work. Looks like somebody has indexing marks on this. I've noticed that. It's almost like somebody rebuilt this. Because, man, this thing is clean for being from the 60s, you know? All right, we'll look into that more in a little bit. I got to go make some coffee. I'm falling asleep out here. All right, see if we can get this, see if I'm doing this right. I'm supposed to lightly tap the flange to remove the main shaft. Oopsie. Where do I need to take? I'm gonna hit that. There's a snap ring here. I'm going to guess that has to come off. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. That snap ring looks like it has to come off. Let me double check though. The snap ring is in here. You have to squeeze these together and then come in on this side of the housing, right here on this slot, and pop the snap ring that way, off the seat of the bearing. So what I did, I took these. The book calls for a piece of pipe, and you slide the piece of pipe over the two pieces of snap ring. However, I just took these, depressed them like that, and then while I did that and held that, I took a screwdriver and very gently just went in and slid it forward. And that seemed to work. Now, let's see if I can get this main shaft out of the tail housing. I'm definitely learning as I go on this, you know, so taking my time, trying to take it easy with stuff. Got her. Oh, that thing's heavier than it looks. Careful all your machined edges. Looks like this part of the tail housing kind of like wants to like drag across this when you pull the main shaft out. So don't bugger that up. That's your speedometer. That's your speedometer gear setting for the main shaft. And that's what makes the Mopar 4-speeds really nice, is that they have this built into the main shaft. All right, let's put this over there. Let's not drop that. Pardon me. You can see the fluid falling out. That is why I put cardboard down. Soaks it all up real nice. Save your boxes when you order parts. That is the snap ring right there. Oh, you see that? There it is. So now there's another snap ring right here holding in the bearing. And I believe you have to get that bearing taken off of the press. The good news is my neighbor has a press and he already offered to let me use it. Let's get this on something clean. Ooh, yeah, that thing's a little more weight, a little heavier than it looks, that's for sure. I don't know. This bearing looks brand new. I don't even know if I want to switch this. I might just clean this stuff up and run it. Pretty large offset now, because one side of the ring's completely off. The other one is not. Some of these edges are slippery, and they're not sharp, but they're a machine corner, so you can feel it when you lean against them too hard. There it is. Ow. What did I break? All right. That's probably precisely what you don't want to do, is knock a tooth off of something. We'll be buying more parts. All right. I think these are the third and fourth synchronizer. Am I right? So this is exactly what I was worried about. That's what I chipped off from moving the ring. That's no good. All right, we're back. I tapped that back. I have the arbor tool. Got that from Brewers. It fits perfectly in there. Boop. Just hammer that in. We're going to start removing the cluster gear. I did get this rear snap ring off. Took a trip to get some tools. I bent it pretty good getting it off. Hopefully I have another one, otherwise I'll be ordering another one. So, and that snap ring went right in there. That holds the bearing on. I can't do any more on the main shaft until I get to the press. So save that for a rainy day. Set up here a little better. All right. I did go get some bigger, like large scale O-ring tools, snap ring tools. Bring over this main case. Man, this thing's heavy. All right. Can you see it inside there? All right. Cluster gear has been sent back this way. You have to hammer it back through the front. It's supposed to be a Woodruff key here. I see a machine slot for one, but I don't see the Woodruff key itself. All right. Found the Woodruff key. It is tiny. So in relation to my finger, you can see the size. It had hopped out and landed on the workbench right around there. So we got that. We won't lose that. You know what that's for. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to send this all the way home. My biggest issue with filming is I never know if I'm in the frame or not when I'm doing stuff. And I try and keep things in the frame so everybody can see them. There we go. Oh, it's like winning the lottery. Keeping all these separate. There's two separate sizes. You can't really see them. There you go. There we go. That was the cluster gear hitting. Oh, I can't say that. I have to edit that one out. So we're going to put this facing the front the way it was. Trying to keep parts laid out clean, nice. I believe I have a 308 front bearing. Okay. So my favorite, another snap ring. I had a very hard time with that rear snap ring. I don't know why it was that difficult. Maybe I just don't have experience with these. I mean, not maybe. I don't have experience with these. The problem I was having was only one side of the snap ring would walk off the groove that's milled for that. The other side is like locked in. Let's see if I have the same problem again. Plus, this thing spins really nice, so. Let's take this one out. It's kind of difficult. This thing spins around really good. Can't really get to it. And for some reason, they designed these snap ring pliers to be like just wider than your hand. Of course. Trying to walk each side of the ring off by tilting it when I have pressure on. That's not working. Yep, no dice. This big set's really nice, but they're too big for that. Yeah, not going to work. You gotta be careful when these things pop. You can pinch yourself, and it's not a pleasant feeling. I destroyed that other ring by putting a screwdriver behind it, so try not to do that again. But here we are. All right, so there's our groove, right? There's our opening in the snap ring. Put the tool in. Apply pressure to the ring. And it does not come off. Come on. These things are making a fool out of me, and I don't like it. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do that. I feel like this ruins the ring, and you'll never be able to put it back on. That wasn't too bad. That's pretty good. I really don't like doing this kind of stuff with screwdrivers. Like it's just one slip away from burying this thing in my hand. It's not what I want to do. See, there's half of it. And truly say I don't understand why this is so difficult. It's like they just don't open up enough to get out of the machine, the groove that they sit in. There we go. There it is. Even if you have no clue what you're doing, do not give up. Okay, that goes with that in the front. When this bearing gets pressed on, it has to have this groove in the front, apparently. Oh. Did that just come out the wrong way? Well, that was supposed to come out the other way, but it did not. Okay. See how the gear is larger than the bearing? This gear, larger than the bearing. That means this is a 307 bearing, so it has to go out that way. And if you'll notice, the bearing has a race towards the front for the snap ring, and then the other snap ring goes in right there. That's the one I was really struggling with. This one came out kind of easy. So when you set this back together, this bearing race has to be towards the front of the shaft. All right. You may or may not have heard these little keys dropping. I've been saving these. There's two different sizes. All right. There we go. That got a lot of the wheel out. Dripping now. Now we're going to take out the reverse detent. That breaker bar makes easy work. Should be a spring. Should also be a ball in here. There it is. Ta-da! Inch and an eighth. Fits on the large hex bolt for the reverse switch. Thread that bugger out. Looks pretty good. There is a gasket on there. Just going to leave it on. Try and clean these threads. I doubt I have a thread chaser that big. It's pretty good. So I take the switch out. I never took out the reverse switch. That's the one. I'll put this in its own bag. This should also have a little gasket. All these gaskets you need to have, otherwise it'll leak. If you're leaking while you're driving, you won't notice it. That could be catastrophic later on. I'm going to clean this off a little bit. This thing might work, but the prongs are pretty whooped on it, so I got a new one. I got that from Brewers. Oh, yeah, little gasket came off. Now, when I bag this, I'm going to leave the gasket in there. That way I know that it should have it later on. Boop, boop. See that? All right. Even if I don't end up reusing this, which I'm not, I can save it together and I'll always be able to reference this and know that there is a gasket that goes with this. That's why I write and gasket. Need to remove that shaft. Apparently you can take a C-clamp, put a 7/16 socket there, and put something here that is a larger diameter than that. That way it'll back out. Let me get the right stuff to do this. Let's see what I got laying around that I can use. The good news is we'll break out the big clamp. There's no fun way to undo a giant C-clamp. It really isn't. You just gotta spin the thing. It's not going to do it. Oops. In fact, I need to angle this the other way. Maybe, just maybe if I bring this around, it'll work. All right, let's try this. This is not going to go easy. Yeah, this is going to be one thing or the other all night long. So that has to get held there. Problem is I need like 3 hands to do this. There we go. There we go. I need to look down in there and make sure that my piece of square stock is not blocking the shaft from coming out. That the inside diameter of the square stock is actually out of the way. 100%. It appears so. All right. Tell you what, that little lantern is very handy. There we go. Walk it back nice and slow. What I did is I put that like that and had the clamp push that, and then the shaft was able to come inside to the inside diameter of the square stock. It was able to slide right in. Not exactly the tool that was suggested in the book, but it worked. All right. All right, what am I missing here? Nothing, there it is. Okay. Reverse shaft. So far, all the gears in this, really good condition. These are all original Mopar gears. That's great. I'm glad to see it in this nice a shape. I took the housing. I wiped out the inside really good. You'll have a lot of like just dirt residue and old gear oil down in there. I did also pop out the fill drain plug. That's pretty straightforward. So yeah, here's the housing from the back. And this is going to go off to the machine shop and get cleaned up real nice. They're not going to do any machine work, but they're going to shop paint it for me. One last thing that I did not do, I'll do it real quick, is the cover plate. So you'll see some odd parts here, which I'm going to put in the bag before I lose them. There's a hollow shaft with a spring, right? And there's a key that goes in the middle. This key is bigger than the other ones. Here's the key in my right hand for the cluster gear. There's the key for the shift detent. See, they're different length, different diameter. Sorry, it's hard to hold them both. See that? So, all right. So if for some reason you ever mix them up, you know this one for the cover plate is the largest. And that goes in there like that. You zoom in a little bit, make it a little easier for people to see. This has a little nut lock washer, right? So you run that through the hole in the cover plate, which of course it won't fit now. There's a little rubber, there's a rubber ring on that. There you go. All right. Now, each one of these balls sits on each side and goes in and out of these milled half circles, while this sits inside. So you would take one of the balls, put it like that, and drop it, just like I did. Probably fit better right there. Yep. Okay. That goes in there. See, the other ball goes here. And I'm completely missing this in the camera. Look, the other ball goes right there. So this little assembly has to come out. And that should be made up of the two balls, the one key, the spring, hollow shaft. I think that's considered the early style. I'm just gonna leave that on there. And then this, it's just a 1/2 inch. those back on so I don't lose them. So this is a tail shaft bushing. There's one right in here. This is the tool from Brewers with the correct size. Basically, it's a big punch. You can see it fits perfectly. You hammer the bushing out. Just get this from Brewers if you're going to do this. It's worth the money. All right, everybody. I'm going to throw a quick ending into this. Took the tail shaft across the street to my buddy Greg's garage. Thank you, Greg. We used his press. We pressed out the that thrust bearing or bushing or whatever it is. And now all my components are clear of parts. Take everything to go get cleaned up real nice at the machine shop. And then I'll do a reassembly video, but that's going to be an entire another video. This is long enough. We got everything stripped down, and I feel like we went through some of the parts pretty good. I will have to take some care in finding out what part I broke the synchro tooth off of. It's not one of the synchronizer rings. It's something on the main shaft, and I'm hoping I didn't break something that is like permanently on the main shaft and end up having to buy another main shaft, because that will greatly increase the cost of rebuilding this, almost probably to the point of what it would cost to buy another one. But the condition of all the gears and everything inside of that 4-speed were fairly nice. So I did talk to someone who said I should probably just run the bearings. They have no damage on them at all. They have no wear on them at all. And with all those paint dots for indexing everything, either somebody rebuilt that or that thing never had any mileage on it. It's hard to figure out, you know. I mean, it's an old piece of machinery, so I don't know the history of it. I don't even know if it came out of a car or truck, because it only has half the VIN number on there, because it's a 68. So I can't tell what kind of vehicle it came out of. In 69, Mopar started putting the full VIN so you could have matching numbers on your car. They actually did that because of theft, not for collectors. So it works out for collectors now. But if you got a 68, all you got is the back half, which tells you where it was built and what year. So anyway, I appreciate everybody watching my my teardown video of the A-833 Chrysler 4-speed. Like I said, we'll get a reassemble video going in a couple weeks, and I don't know. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.